How to prepare for a monitoring and evaluation interview. Hi guys, I'm your host Coach Alexander. I'm so glad that you've joined this channel today, M&D Made Simple. For those of you who are here for the very first time, I have been doing this for 10 years now, and everybody knows me as Coach Alexander. So if you are new to this channel, please do well to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button next to this channel. Now, another thing I want to talk about is that there's this book called The Logical Framework Analysis Guide. It is totally free. The link again is in the description. So I really want all of you who have not yet done so to download this book, because it's an important planning tool, especially when you're doing your project implementation. Another thing is I'll be soon launching the beginner's guide for 2022. I've received quite a number of emails of people requesting for the old version, but that one has been kind of phased out. So there's going to be a new one, so just be on the lookout. I really want you guys to download this book. Everything that you get on M&D Made Simple, most of it is free, including the content on YouTube. And then another thing is the 6 months coaching program. I'm so glad that some of you have enrolled in this program. I actually have students who are very happy with it. So the doors are still open. Please do not hesitate to enroll in this program, because it's going to build your capacity as you deliver your job function in your various respective organizations. Now, for those of you who may know about this organization called KPI Lens, they are an organization that deals with development of M&D software, and you know how important M&D software is. So KPI Lens is currently running a promotion for M&D professionals to collaborate with the team on the same platform to collect data that can be exported as Excel or CSV for only $9.9 per month. They are also offering free access to the beta version of their analytics for a limited number of users who would like to continue working on the platform after the data collection. I strongly recommend you take advantage of this promotion, guys, to simplify your M&D processes. So if you want, please do well to register for free through the link which is in the description below. Very soon this promotion will end, so I would urge you, my dear friends, to take full advantage of this KPI Lens software. Now, as usual, this video is quite long. Please do well to use the timestamps. I hope you forgive me today, because I'm not 100% feeling okay, but I'll try my best to be as proactive and good in my presentation today. So let's get straight into business. Now, the presentation outline, when it comes to the interviews, I want to start by talking a bit about why these interviews are important and how they are structured. Okay, so you might be attending this interview for the very first time. I want you to know these details. And also, I want you to appreciate what the research has said on how people actually win these job interviews. And then we'll go straight into understanding the tips that I have for you so that you can actually ace these interviews. Then we go to the conclusion. So now, M&D interviews are important to every employer, especially those who are looking for the professionals, M&D officer, M&D specialist, director, and so on. And these interviews give them an opportunity to understand who you are and what you can bring in the organization. So the structure of these interviews, they usually take 30 minutes to an hour. And the reason why it's like that is because most of the time, like the ones I've attended, you first have the oral interview, okay, where they just talk to you, get to tell me a bit about yourself and things like that. But then there's also the practical session. All right, where they'll give you an exercise, and usually it's an exercise where after you're done doing it, you do a PowerPoint presentation. So in some cases, before the interview, you may be required to also write an aptitude test. So now, in most cases, maybe not most cases, but some cases, they, like in the United States of America, you see that M&D officers actually earn a salary of $76,000 a year, but that is not everywhere, okay, because this is the USA we are talking about. But it just gives you an idea of the actual potential that is there for professionals around the globe. And I'm pretty convinced that even in your home country, there could be a high demand for these M&E experts to join an organization. So what do the statistics really say about job interviews? So if you go to this website called legaljobs.io.blog interview statistics, it will tell you that 47% of the candidates failed a job interview because they didn't have enough information about the company they applied for. And I have seen this personally, because when I go for an interview, the panel will ask me what I know about them. Okay, and the reason why they do that is they want to get a sense of what you're really signing up for, whether you are agreeable to what they do, and whether you blend in, whether you've thought through things. And it also indicates to them that you're actually genuinely interested to work for them. 71% of employers wouldn't hire someone who doesn't follow the appropriate dress code. And that is obvious. The thing is that you need to dress the best you can, because this is, quite frankly, a rare opportunity and privilege. 39% of the candidates get rejected due to overall confidence level, voice quality, or a lack of a smile. Things like this can be a deal breaker in some interview sessions. And here they're saying 39%. 10% of applicants get rejected due to bad handshakes. Okay, so you can see that there are actually statistics that are out there. I'm sure if you did your research on Google, you'll find other additional statistics that can help you really understand why certain individuals fail and why others succeed. Now let's look at the tips to win a job interview. Okay, so the first tip, all right, I've got the first tip, but there are, underneath that tip are many things. One, know about the company. All right, I talked about this. Get to know them, get to know what they do. Don't assume, let's say you're called for a United Nations job interview. Don't assume just because that agency is under the UN, they do the same thing. No, get to know that agency. Okay, zero in on, if it's UNHCR, get to know what UNHCR does, or Food and Agriculture Organization. Another thing is that confirm the time for the interview. Because of busy schedules, sometimes we might have an idea that, okay, the interview will be 11 a.m., but we can easily forget. Usually it's best to go for an interview an hour before. It makes you get familiar with the environment where you're going to do the interview, and then it eliminates the possibility of being delayed due to unforeseen circumstances. Traffic sometimes can delay you. Sometimes you can also, your car can break down along the way. Anything can happen. And unfortunately, the interview panel they are not willing to have any excuses as to why you missed an interview. They can't restart it, no. So you have to make sure everything is on point. Dress appropriately. Okay, so that suit should be the best suit you've ever worn. Okay, the shoes you wear, make it your best, look your best. Okay, so you just need to dress appropriately. Rehearse your responses is the second tip. Usually it is good to practice. And what I've seen is that if the worst case scenario is if they tell you that your interview will be 3 days before, although I've never faced that, but usually they'll give you ample time. They'll give you the notification probably a week before. Okay, so during that week before, get prepared, rehearse your answers, okay, and anticipate the questions they are going to ask. The usual questions that they ask is, tell us a bit about yourself, okay, why do you think you are the best person for the job? What are your biggest weaknesses and what are your biggest strengths? If given the job, what will you do? Okay, so these are the most common questions they will ask. I can tell you from my experience, having attended interviews and been part of the panel before, I'll tell you the truth. These questions I've written down are the ones that come often. And you might be expecting a lot of M&D technical stuff. Maybe it will just be a bit here and there, but usually these are the ones that come. Now, how do you answer these questions? I'm going to give you some tips. The third tip of this whole video, they tell us a bit about yourself, is really looking at your academic and professional life and how it fits into the M&E. Okay, so you won't want to tell them things that are not related to your profession. You need to tell them things that marry well. Okay, so for example, you can tell them about your school years. Yeah, that's what you did, your first degree, your second degree, if you had a second degree, and also where you worked related to M&E. If you were a volunteer as a medical professional, that's good to speak about, but it's not really what they're looking for. It could tell them that, okay, you are able to diversify, but they really want to know about monitoring and evaluation. The weaknesses are difficult to explain, especially to total strangers. I've had this experience before. It can be difficult to explain your weaknesses. You cannot answer such a question by saying, I don't have any weaknesses, because it's a lie. Everyone does have a weakness. So when answering this question, be honest, but yet don't make them be afraid to hire you. Don't say weaknesses like, my weakness is I come late for work. They'll obviously won't want to hire you. So mention something that is palatable, that everybody can accept. That's how the world is anyway, guys. There are certain things people can accept, there are certain things they can't. Another thing is, if given the job, what will you do in the first few weeks of employment? So this is where now you need to talk about what technical contribution will you add to the organization when you get the job the first few weeks. This is actually should be answered very well, because it will give them an indication that, okay, you know what you are going to do when you get into the job. So what I usually like to say is, the first few days I'm going to learn more about the organization, review project documents and logical frameworks, and then probably develop data collection tools and plan for an M&D visit. Okay, that is just an overall summary, but you need to be a bit more elaborate. Now, tip number 4 is non-verbal communication. The non-verbal communication, it's good for you to ensure that, one, you don't look intimidating to the panel. Your facial expressions should be welcoming. Use your body language and gestures appropriately. Okay. Always also, your overall appearance should be on spot and then maintain eye contact. Don't be like staring, or maybe you're wandering about, because it will look like you're not interested in what the panel has to tell you. So get to build that relationship, even though you have a short period of time with them. Have that way of building a relationship with them. Sorry about that. Tip number 5 is to prepare now for the technical questions. Now this is important. All right. Of course, there's the aptitude test, there's the other thing I talked about, but they would want to get to know certain details about how you understand monitoring and evaluation. I've attended interviews and there's been no time when someone asked me what monitoring and evaluation is, because that is a simple question to answer. But what they want to understand is, for instance, when it comes to the development of the M&D system, run them through the process, but don't give them a textbook answer. Put context into it. You're dealing with a humanitarian organization, okay, that deals with farmers. Put context, explain how you build the system for them, but not something you read out of the textbook. It also goes with the same, the development of data collection tools. How do you develop tools? In the coaching program, I've always explained this to the students, and it seems to be working very fine. It's an easy process, but you need to add context to the whole thing of development of tools. Strategic planning is also critical. Now, when I talk of strategic planning, I'm talking about also the program planning component or project planning. All M&D professionals need to know how to do these plans, how to come up with projects. Okay, you need to understand concepts like the problem and solution tree. That is going to add points to your interview. The reason why organization need people like that is because when the project comes to an end, there's a new cycle of planning. And then instead of having too much to rely on external consultants, if they have in-house capacity from you, then it becomes so much easier to do some of these tasks. How do you undertake monitoring and training of staff? Those are things that they would want to find out from you. So you need to be able to prepare an effective response. Don't memorize things. They want to hear it from your perspective. It's easy to tell that someone was memorizing things, but someone who's speaking out of their own mind and soul, it's easy to tell. Okay, so in conclusion, if you want to win a job interview, there's no guarantee that you win. You can score high marks, but also you need to appreciate that the competition is stiff. A lot of people are looking for jobs, okay, and you need to do your best and let the panel make their own conclusions and judgments. So winning a job interview requires thorough preparation. So thank you so much, guys, for being part of this channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Write to me on coachalexander23@yahoo.com in case you have any questions at all. I want to thank especially all those who've been wishing me a quick recovery from just a short illness I've been going through. So until we meet again, see you on the other side.